Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Gina. If you're new here, welcome. It's so nice to have you. If you're a returning subscriber, thanks for coming back. Feel free to click the notification bell next to the subscribe button to get notified of my uploads because they're kind of irregular. Okay, so this video I think will be a really fun one. I hope. Before we jump into this, just a little bit of backstory. I'm relatively new to the area that I'm living in. I moved here almost 2 months ago, like in a week, and meeting people has been really hard due to the pandemic. It's just people are wanting to stay away from each other, not get close to each other, you know? Loneliness is like totally a thing that everyone experiences, and everybody has different ways of coping with it. And you know, I reach out to my family members and I reach out to friends from back home, but sometimes you want that like face-to-face interaction with people. And so at one point I did go on a dating app. I'm not going to say the name of this app because it doesn't matter. I did go on there just to like meet people and, you know, see what was out there, and I regret it now. Like, I don't think it's the best way to meet people. Since that closed chapter, I've joined a Bible study and met some really cool people through there, and also going to school events or the library. Those are like way better and more authentic ways of meeting people, I think. But everyone's entitled to their opinion, so if dating apps work for you, great. Not my experience. I'm just going to give you a story time of the worst date I've ever been on in my entire life. Not a joke, not exaggerating. I've never been on a date this terrible. So there was this guy that I matched with, and he seemed really cool. He seemed really smart. He was studying a really hard major, but also was like an athlete at the same time. And I'm obviously not going to use his real name. We're going to call him Brian. Brian and I met through this app. We were chatting. I thought he was just such a gentleman because he always wanted to like call me through the app. I appreciate the fact that he liked phone calls because I feel like phone calls are such a lost art. You know what I mean? Everybody just texts nowadays. I feel like if you call someone or if you FaceTime them, you're actually like really interested in them. So he would call me and I thought that he was super nice. There were certain times where he kind of sounded a little bit arrogant. But I thought, you know, maybe that's just confidence. Maybe I need to have that type of confidence. Spoiler alert, it was not. But we'll get to that. After chatting for a while and like texting and calling through the app, we decided to meet in person to go on a date. So he picked the restaurant and like we go there. He was very well dressed and put together. He said to me like he was really nervous for our date, and I was like, no, it's okay, like me too. But I also feel like I come across when I'm nervous, I just like laugh a lot and I just sound a little bit annoying, but not always. Like I think I can also be pretty chill when I'm nervous, but like not always. But for this date, interestingly enough, I was pretty chill the entire time. Like other than, you know, the random weird bits of laughter, like I was pretty chill. And so there were just a couple of red flags that showed his true intentions that, you know, at first I was like, oh, maybe I'm being judgy, or like maybe I'm whatever. We go into the restaurant and then there's like a wait time, so they take down our name. So Brian's like, oh, do you want to just like go for a walk? And I was like, sure. So we went through to a walk like downtown, and it was really nice. And then we got to this part of like this bridge, and this bridge was like only one person could walk through at a time. It had like lights over the top. It was really cute, and it was like a pathway to get to this restaurant, but only one person go at a time. So he was like, you go first, and I was like, okay, whatever. But then he made a comment when he was walking behind me that like he was walking behind me intentionally so he could stare at my butt. And at first I just laughed because it was super awkward. Like I was just like,
you cannot be for real.
This is the first time I'm really meeting you in person, and yeah. Okay. But I'm like, you know what? Whatever, like maybe that's just to be funny. Then we're just like talking, and in the back of my mind I'm thinking like, that's really weird. Like I totally wouldn't say that to someone. Like even if I was thinking it, just me, I probably wouldn't say that. Especially if like I just met them. Then the restaurant calls and tells us there's an opening for us. So we go to the restaurant and we get a table outside. It was like a really nice evening, really beautiful outside. And our waiter, he was wearing a shirt that said like love is love or something, and also was very effeminate. So you could probably tell that he was probably gay. As soon as the waiter walked away, he made a point to tell me that it made him very uncomfortable and that he didn't like people like that. He kept making certain comments. And at that point, I was giving him this look like,
wait a minute! Who are you?
really? Like, why do you feel the need to say stuff like that? It's a person regardless, so you don't even know them. So to sit and make comments while they're walking away, so I don't even know if they could hear some of the stuff that he was saying, but it was just like he was making really ignorant comments and really unnecessary comments, because you can have an opinion, but also you can keep it to yourself. If you don't have anything nice to say, literally don't say anything. So I said something like that to him, something to the extent to signify that I was uncomfortable with what he was saying. But he proceeded to bring it up not once, not twice, but 3 times on 3 different occasions. And it was to the point where I just thought it was super unnecessary. That was like strike number 2. Like, when you're rude to the waitstaff for any reason, especially over something that like literally does not affect you, like their sexuality does not affect you, so making a comment about them and being rude to them because of it is really unnecessary. So that was red flag number 2. Red flag 2.5 was when we were ordering our meals, you had the choice of getting the entree, and then you could pick like fries as a side and then a pickle with the meal. And so he picked regular fries and I picked sweet potato fries. And I was like, oh my goodness, I'm so glad that you picked regular fries, because like I kind of wanted to try both. And he was like, well, you're not having any of mine. And I thought he was joking. So I was like, he's like, no, you're not. Like, I don't like sweet potato fries and you're not having any of mine. And I was like, you know, I'm going to respect their boundary. They're allowed to think that. But also I was thinking, man, like you're kind of mean. But I didn't say that, but I totally was thinking that. So that was red flag 2.5. Red flag 3 came when we got our meals and we were eating, and I was eating my pickle, and he made a comment about the way I was eating it. And then later in our conversation, he said that it like turned him on, the way that I was eating my pickle.
What? Child. Anyway, so.
Ew.
I am disgusted.
Ew. One, it was like a wedge of a pickle. It wasn't like a whole freaking pickle. Not that it matters. Either way, you don't say that to somebody that you don't know. That's like so inappropriate. So then at that point, I'm just like, I can't wait for this date. Like internally in my head, I'm like, this date needs to be over. Also, even at that point, I was like, maybe I'm not being open-minded enough. So I was gonna keep an open mind. Like right after we finish eating, we get around to talking about the bill. He had asked me out on the date, and I come from a standpoint, from a perspective growing up, whether it was with friends, with family, with a date, if you ask them out, you pay for the date. That's just how it is. So if I had asked him out, I totally would have offered to pay for the meal. Hands down, I would have done that, because if you're inviting somebody out, you know, you don't know what their financial situation is, so it's always polite to ask them first. I obviously definitely freaking have enough money to pay for my own meal, but I thought since he asked me out that he would, you know, at least offer to pay for the meal. So when it comes around to talking about the check, he was, yeah, we're splitting. And I was like, oh, okay. Like I was super taken aback and totally put off by it, because I'm thinking in the back of my head, you asked me out on this date, you picked the restaurant, so like you knew the prices of everything. So to me, it's just a douchebag move to know the prices and know whatever, and then ask a girl out but then not pay for her meal. He's like, no, I don't pay for the meal until a certain date, like a certain amount of the way in. He had told me that he always had trouble with girls ghosting him, or girls like, which also should have been a red flag from the beginning. He told me that he had trouble with girls just ghosting him going out on like one date with them, and then them texting him later and being like, you're a nice guy, but you're just not for me. And so I thought to myself, like, this is why nobody wants to go on like a second or third date, because you make inappropriate comments, you're kind of rude to the waitstaff, and you ask somebody out but you're not paying for their meal. Like, that's so ghetto.
I'm in the ghetto. Ra-ta-ta-ta.
Like, if you don't have the money to pay for somebody else's meal, don't go out on a date, boo-boo. Like, don't do that. So, oh my gosh, it just makes me mad thinking about it because he was so rude about it. And I honestly was also really hurt by it, which totally showed me that I am not in the place to be dating right now because, you know, I think I'm a nice girl. I think I'm funny and smart and I have some confidence. I just thought, why wouldn't you want to pay for our meal after we spent time together, especially if, you know, I'm still open to going out on a date with you. I haven't said anything to indicate otherwise. So that was the moment that I knew I wasn't going to go on a second date with him, as soon as he pulled that. And he could tell on my face because I'm the type of person, I wear my heart on my sleeve. You can tell what I'm thinking by, like, my face, unfortunately. I'm really bad at disguising what I'm thinking, my emotions. And so I was honestly really hurt by that. If you don't respect me enough to withhold weirdly suggestive comments, like weird sexual comments that you're making about me, if you don't respect me enough to even pay for dinner after our date, like, you're not going to respect me, period. So to me, that was a big red flag. And so before we parted ways that night, I was kind of nervous about doing this, but I literally said to his face, because he said the girls would always like text him afterwards or just not text him at all. So I said to his face, I'm like, this is why I wouldn't go out with you again. And I gave him all of those reasons that I explained to you. And I appreciated the fact that he actually listened and he was open-minded about it. And he said, well, I appreciate you telling me that in person. And I hope that was a good experience for him. It certainly was a learning experience for me because I was really proud of myself because I feel like I never really stick up for myself. I'm a very agreeable person, so sometimes I'll just allow people to treat me a certain way and then think that I did something to deserve it or that I'm not worth being treated with respect. But I swear counseling has been helping me a lot because I've really, you know, gained a lot of confidence back in myself. And like, if you don't want to be with me, if you don't want to treat me with respect, then you don't deserve to be with me, period. Period! And I wish more women would walk around with that mentality because I swear you're worth it. Like, you are worth so much more than some guy that you met on a dating app who kind of treated you like crap but still, you know, expected you to behave in a certain way towards him. Yuck. You don't owe anyone anything, and you have every right to just walk away from a situation like that. I didn't have any reason to believe that he would like hurt me or anything, so that's why I felt comfortable to say that to him in person, but also I didn't have to. Like, if I wanted to say that through text, just so that, you know, there wasn't any weird backfire situation, that's a good option for women too, I think. But yeah, I feel like that whole situation made me realize I'm not ready to date yet because I'm still working through a lot of stuff that I've been through over the past couple of years with just relationships not working out. Like, last year I really fell in love with someone. It was to the point where I kind of stopped loving myself because I just loved them so much and I really wanted things to work out, but also I wasn't even in a healthy place to be the best version of myself for them. And I think, you know, it's easy to sit here and be like, oh, I wish I did things differently. I also think I loved them the very best that I could, given who I was and like the situation that I was in and how much I didn't know. Like, I was just so naive. And so I'm really grateful for experiences like this, as much as they're really crappy sometimes and they're not fun to go through. I feel like it really does help me learn to love myself more, to know what I'm worth. And yeah, I hope you guys found this video interesting or funny or it not, I don't know. But yeah, I do have like a couple other story time videos I could do. I don't know if it would be about this topic or another one, but let me know if this is something that interests you guys. Thank you so much for watching. If you made it all the way through, please feel free to leave me a sun emoji because I could use some sun. I feel really pale. I'm just kidding. No, I like yellow and the sun is yellow, so yeah. Or just leave me any type of yellow emoji. That would be cool. Alright, thank you so much for watching. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. Okay, you guys are the best. Bye.